In hadith narrated by Abu Dawood and At-Tirmidhi, an authentic hadith, the Prophet ﷺ teaches us how Adam ﷺ was created, or more specifically, from what he was created. He was created from dirt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells an angel to go to this earth, and from this earth gather bits and pieces of dirt from different parts of the earth. Now, if you've traveled the world, or if you've seen other countries, or the next time you go to another place in this world, whether it's in our nation or beyond, pay attention to the quality of the dirt, the characteristics, the features of the dirt. And what you find is that different terrain has different types of dirt. Terrain that is in the Arctic has dirt that's different than terrain that's in the desert. Terrain that's in the mountains has dirt that's different than terrains that are in lower parts of the earth. It all has different features. And being from different areas, having different features, different vegetation is able to grow in it or unable to grow in it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the angel, go, grab dirt from all parts of the world and come. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that dirt to create the essence, the foundation of the human being. And from here, the Prophet ﷺ says, some dirt is soft, some dirt is rough, some dirt is, for the lack of a better translation, it's sad. Other dirt is lively. Some dirt is depressed. Some dirt is energetic. And again, I'm just roughly translating the hadith. What does this all mean? Well, what it means is the following, dear brothers and sisters. Us being created from dirt means that we, as human beings, have the characteristics and the features found in dirt. For example, when dirt is mixed with water, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did for the creation of Adam, it becomes mud. And mud as it dries becomes clay, and clay as it dries becomes hardened. And something that is hard cannot be reshaped. You cannot take a vessel made of clay, a pot made of clay, and then reshape its dimensions. You can't do that. Similarly, we human beings, we are solid. I will look the way I look, with maybe slight changes as I age, but I'm not going to shapeshift. I can't. Why? Because I'm created from dirt, and I have the features of dirt. And the Prophet ﷺ, referring to certain dirt as being lively, as being energetic, as being rough, as being soft, is essentially pointing to the personality types of humanity. And maybe it's accurate to say the following, that it's kind of like your genes. Certain people have genes that make them naturally lean towards a type of liveliness. Other people naturally lean towards a type of depressing personality type. They lean towards this. It doesn't mean they are doomed to it, but rather they lean towards it. When things are getting rough, they tend to resort to this type of personality to continue to feel alive, to continue to feel like human beings. And this is point number one about what it means to be a human being in regards to how Adam ﷺ was created. Our personality types, to a good extent, cannot be changed. I mean, you're created from this. This is the type of dirt you were created from. It is so wired in you, I don't know if it could be changed. But that's okay. Because when you look at how the Prophet ﷺ interacted with his fellow human beings, what I find is that, and this is so lovely, so beautiful of the Prophet ﷺ, shows you his leadership type, his leadership skills. The Prophet ﷺ never tried to change the personalities of his companions. Never. But rather, he was able to appreciate the strengths of his personality. People who are lively have certain strengths, and people who are a little bit more on the depressed side have certain strengths. People who are rough have certain strengths, and people who are soft have certain strengths. He understood the person's strengths, taught them to embrace those strengths, and employed that person's strengths by putting them in the context, in the tasks that really highlight those strengths. But he was also able to see their weaknesses and teach them to avoid their weaknesses and would never put them in an environment or in a scenario or in a task that would bring out their weaknesses. That's Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. And that's how we need to be. When you look at your children, if you have children, or you look at your siblings, each one has a different personality type. And it's not for us to try and change people's personalities. That's a failed strategy. But rather, we need to learn how to appreciate the strengths and avoid the weaknesses. And so that's number one about the human being. You are the way you are. Some parts, in terms of your personality, you are the way you are. And the Quran and the Sunnah are not tasking you with fundamentally changing who you are. No. So when it comes to the idea of self-development, personality types, taking the quiz of what kind of personality you are, there's nothing wrong with reading this content, but don't try and utilize this to try and become somebody who you cannot be. And appreciate your personality type as Allah's qada and qadar. Allah wanted you to be of this personality type. Why? Because that's the role you need to play. But rather your role, embrace your strengths, figure it out, embrace them, employ them, understand your weaknesses, avoid them, don't let them take over you. As he told one companion who was very short-tempered, he said, Ya Rasulullah, advise me, give me advice, Ya Rasulullah. He said, La taghdab, don't get mad. La taghdab, don't get mad. La taghdab, don't get mad. He understood his personality type, short-tempered. And he told him, just don't react to your anger. Don't react to your anger. Learn to control your anger. He didn't say, oh, you have an anger problem, you need to fundamentally change yourselves. So that's one feature of what it means to be created from dirt. Another one, when you look at dirt, dear brothers and sisters, what does dirt do for the nature around us? You take a seed and you leave it there, what happens to the seed? Nothing. You take a seed and pour water on it, what happens to it? Nothing. But when you take a seed and put it in dirt and pour water on it, what happens? Life. Life and beauty come out of it. And in that beauty is benefit for humanity. It benefits other things, whether it's just in the beauty of the plant, or in the smell the plant gives, or in the vegetation and the fruits the plant creates by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dirt has the elements of providing life. The human being is alive. And no matter what kind of dirt a human being comes from, they are alive. And their ability to give life to others is part and parcel of the human experience, dear brothers and sisters. Imagine this. You as a human being can bring life by the will of Allah. Through the process of getting married and having children, you bring life. And that's something beautiful. Or you can help someone else get out of their circumstances, their difficulty, as though you are bringing them life. The human being created from dirt has this beautiful powerful characteristic feature. We bring life to others. So when the angel said, oh Allah, you're creating a creation that's going to kill one another, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, perhaps at that point, had still not created something from dirt. The angels have still not seen a creation that has this ability to bring life. And yeah, there are those who create mischief and problems on earth, but the vast majority of humanity always work in a way that brings life to other people. You look at the fires here in Southern California. How many thousands upon thousands of people have come out to support those afflicted by the fires? Or in Palestine, the world is showing support, trying to give life to those who are being attacked and trying to be stripped of their life by the tyrannical Israeli regime. Humanity has the ability to give life, and it makes them beautiful. And another feature of dirt is that when it's burned, on the topic of the wildfires, when it's burnt, yeah, it could kill the crops. Yeah, it could damage it could scar, it could scorch the dirt. But what we always hear about dirt that has been burnt is that over the course of the next few months or years, the dirt rejuvenates itself. And from what I hear, it becomes more fertile than before it's scorched. In other words, when fire afflicts humanity, figurative or metaphorical of the difficulties of life, yeah, it hurts. But in that scenario, we become better. That is part of the human experience. That is what it means to be created of dirt. And what this translates to, dear brothers and sisters, is that there is no human being who Allah sees as a lost cause. None. Because every single human being, no matter how distant they become from Allah, they still have this feature of life in them and this feature of being able to rejuvenate themselves. So the worst of the worst people, when water is poured on them, the water of Allah's mercy, the water of Allah's revelation, the water of the prophetic way, they can rejuvenate and they can become fertile and they can produce fruits and vegetables and vegetation. You look at some of the companions, where they were, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Umar radiallahu ta'ala an, he was once somebody who was lifeless, but Allah gave for him a light. So he started walking between humanity, being a source of life for everyone else. So when we look at the fellow human being, when we look at ourselves, wallahi, you are never a lost cause. By merit of being from dirt, you are still alive. And it's just about finding the water that will rejuvenate you and bring the best out of you. And the final feature of dirt, dirt puts out fire. You take dirt and throw it on fire, it puts the fire out. And what does that mean for the human being? One of the most humane, the most human feature that we see is that humanity always works together, collaborates. The majority of humanity collaborates to put out the fires, to solve the problems. And we see this throughout human history. Dear brothers and sisters, don't be boggled down by the politics and a group of people causing problems. The majority of humanity continues to honor this human feature of ours, this yearning, this wanting to put out the problems of other people, to solve the problems of humanity. So by being created from dirt, this isn't something that's simply to look down upon the human being, but rather to humble the human being and allow them to appreciate their features and their legacy and the beauty about being a son or a daughter of Adam alayhi salam. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair for watching. Please share this khair and let other people benefit from the lessons and support this masjid by becoming one of its sustainers.